So I know that this may sound silly, but one of the things when you are working on your resume, your list of references, your cover letter, your thank you letter, and things like that, one of the most important components is how you write an address, and how you write a phone number, and how you write an email address. And some of these things are things that we are very rusty on, because when I was in school, I learned it in like 3rd grade maybe, but now anymore they don't even teach children how to address envelopes because everything is done electronically. So, to save you some pain of punctuation rules, I just wanted to take you through a quick guide of how to address something properly. So, let's use me, and we'll use the school address. So obviously you put the person's name on the first line. That usually is not an issue. It's the next line where we have a bit of an issue. So the school is at 517 Ash Street. But this is where usually everybody has a question. Do I abbreviate it? Do I not? How do I do this? So the rule with this is when you actually have a number of a particular house or a building, then this word needs to be abbreviated with a period. So the things that would get abbreviated are street, boulevard, avenue, township, but that's for a city. I'm trying to think of what I'm forgetting. Street, boulevard, avenue, road would get abbreviated. So if these things have actual number houses that go with them, then you would do it this way. Let's say that we don't know the number and we're just talking about Ash Street in general. Then if we're just talking about the street in general, this would get spelled out instead of abbreviated. So, 517 Ash Street. So the next line is always the city, the state, and the zip code. Some people have a tendency anymore to put them on the same line as the address. You do not want to do that. So, we do the city, which gets capitalized, and then there's a comma after it. Now the state, there's 2 different ways to write the state. You're either going to do big P and big A, which is preferable and what you should use, or if you do a big P and a little a, you have to put a period after it. So I'm just going to blow that up so you can see that. Those are your 2 choices. So if you just did this, that would be wrong. So we do Scranton, comma, PA. Then we do the zip code. There is no comma in between the PA and the zip code ever, 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 ever. Now, sometimes you guys might have seen like a 4-digit extension to the end of a zip code. Sorry, I ran out of air. To the end of a zip code. That's used mainly by the post office, and sometimes like if you pay a bill online or something like that, or if you want your Amazon order shipped to you, those 4 numbers will automatically pop in. It's not something you have to worry about putting in a letter. So, this is how you want this to look. Now, some people have to deal with apartments or a rear apartment or something like that. So, let's make up an address for me, and let's pretend I live at 123 Mountain Road. So, since I know the number of the house, I'm going to abbreviate this with a period, but I live in apartment 2 in the back. So, now what you do is you put a comma, and do APT for apartment with a period, and whatever apartment it is, and rear, if it's rear. If it's just apartment 2, then you would just do that, and then that's all you need, and then you would do the city and the state the same way. Now, for some people who live in townships or boroughs, like Scott Township, for instance, township would get abbreviated TWP, period, then your comma, then your state, and that's an Oliphant zip code, so I don't know if that works for Scott Township as well, but just in case. Okay, so So that's with addresses. Now, when you're writing a letter and you do not know who it's to, then you do what's to whom it may concern. And you have to capitalize the T, the W, the I, the M, and the C, and then would put a comma after that. Now, let's say you're writing me a letter. You would not, because my first name is up here, you would not have to repeat my first name down here again. You always want to start with dear. You don't want to just start with their name, because that's not professional. Now, you don't know whether I'm a guy, you don't know whether I'm a girl. If I'm a girl, you don't know whether I'm married or not. And that can get kind of sticky for females. So what you want to do for women is do MS period, which is pronounced Ms. And that can stand in for Miss or Mrs. So that's your kind of safe bet when it comes to females. Then you must put a comma after that. This is the way the beginning of your letter should look. Then you'd skip the line and start typing to me. If you're not sure whether I'm a guy or a girl, before you write the letter, you need to call the place and find out. Because if I'm a female, which I am, and you send it to Mr. McDonald, that's really going to insult me when I read the letter, and I'm not going to want to call you back. And even though it's very weird that at however old we are, we have to talk about how to punctuate an address. Knowing how to properly punctuate an address also speaks to your professionalism, because you don't want to do it improperly. So, again, if you have a physical number, you're going to abbreviate what comes after it. The street, road, boulevard, avenue, I think that's pretty much it. As far as the city, we do city, comma, state, and then zip code. And then there is no comma in between here at all. So I hope this little crash course helped a little bit. And I'm always here if you have any questions.